Hello, welcome to Dr. Deepak Uppal's Biology. Today, in this video, we will talk genetics. We have always been fascinated by certain specific phenomena occurring in our lives. For example, no doubt there is a variety of characteristics in any species. Let's just talk about human beings. Brown skinned parents are most likely to give birth to a brown skinned child. A blue-eyed baby is most likely to have a blue-eyed ancestor. A tall parent will mostly have a taller offspring. Now, out of the topic, but this is important. A purple-colored pea plant most likely produces purple-colored flowering plants. Why? For centuries, these questions have confused the minds of many persons and scientists. This led to the formation of a unique word, heredity. Heredity means passing of characteristics from parents to offsprings or from parents to their children. So, I was saying, heredity means that the nose of a child bear resemblance to his mother. Similarly, skin color, eye color, and so on. But what about the differences? Sometimes fair-skinned individuals may give birth to a brown-skinned child. Brown-eyed parents can have a blue-eyed offspring. Taller parents can have a shorter baby. For centuries, these questions have also confused the minds of many persons and scientists. So, this led to the formation of another unique word, variations. Variation in this lecture's context means characteristics in a child which are not directly seen in his parents. It was the 1800s. The world was preoccupied by many hypotheses and theories about how characteristics are transferred from parents to their children. A scientist was able to provide with an explanation which made him the father of genetics. His name is Gregor Johann Mendel, and the genetics is the study of what we have talked till now in layman terms. Let us talk about the important person, Gregor Johann Mendel. He was born in 1822 in a Silesian part of Austria, now a part of Czech Republic. He worked as a priest in the Augustinian monastery of St. Thomas at Rome and as a teacher in a high school. He went to Vienna for training in physics, mathematics, and natural sciences. It was a beautiful dawn. The sun came up, so was an idea. Mendel, in the garden of his monastery, saw in garden pea plants some things strange. He saw that some plants of the garden pea had purple-colored flowers, while the other white. Some were tall, while the others were short. Some had rounded pods, while the other had constricted pods, and so on. After seeing this, Mendel had many questions in his mind. For example, how a white-flowered plant was created from a purple-colored flowering plant. So, he started his experiments in 1856. He wrote a paper named on his experiments, Experiments on Plant Hybridization, which was published in the Annual Proceedings of Natural History Society of Brünn in 1866. His work was unrecognized for 34 years and got limited appreciation as his work was ahead of his time. It was in 1900s three important persons, Hugo de Vries of Holland, Karl Correns of Germany, and Erich von Schermack of Austria. These three people rediscovered independently Mendel's work. Mendel, with his studies, tried to understand the basic principles which govern the heredity or transfer of a character from one organism to other. Here, specifically through his studies on pea plant, that is Pisum sativa. Why he chose pea plant? Number 1, easy to grow. Number 2, the pea plant had short life cycle of one annual season. Number 3, it can be artificially hybridized. Number 4, it can be self and cross-pollinated. Number 5, the pea plant showed visible contrasting characters. Mendel performed his experiment in 3 phases. Number 1, self-crossing for a pure line. Number 2, cross-pollinating contrasting traits. Number 3, self-pollinating F1 generations. Let us talk about the first phase, that is, self-cross for a pure line. For example, on self-crossing, Mendel saw that a white-flowered pea plant always produces white-flowered colored pea plant, but a purple-colored pea plant flower sometimes gave birth to a white-colored flower pea plant. He called these plants sometimes as impure, meaning these purple-colored pea plant carried character for both colors or traits. So, to purify them or to create pea plants with purple colored flower, which would give always a purple colored pea plant, he tried self-crossing. A self-cross is self-pollinating a flower or transferring of pollens from stamen to pistil of the same flower. The generations produced simultaneously had purple and white flowered plants. He discarded the whites and again self-pollinated the purple flowered plants. He repeated the process till he got the purple colored flower pea plants, which give rise to only purple colored flower pea plants. He called them pure or PURELINE, as they had only one trait, purple, for flower color character. Most common way of self-crossing a plant is removing anther, that is, male part of a flower, and covering the flower with a bag so that no cross-pollination occurs. Second phase, cross-pollinate contrasting characters. After producing PURELINE or true breeding plants for a specific character, next phase was to cross-pollinate plants with contrasting traits of the character which was under study. For example, if Mendel was studying the character of flower color, then he crossed a true breed or PURELINE of purple color flower pea plant with true breed or PURELINE of white color flower pea plant. The result or progeny he got, he called them F1 or first filial generation. Phase 3, self-crossing F1 generation. So, the third and the last phase in the Mendel experiment was to self-pollinate and self-cross of F1 generation produced or he got from the phase 2. The final result Mendel got after analyzing all characteristics, contrasting traits and experiments was summed as Mendel's laws or Mendel's laws of inheritance. Number 1, law of dominance. Number 2, law of segregation. Number 3, law of independent assortment. Before understanding Mendel's laws, first we need to understand the concept of an allele. An allele was a factor or something present inside the body of a plant which was responsible for the physical appearance of a trait, and he gave arbitrary names for it. For example, for the character height, traits were tall or short. So the allele for tall was capital T and the allele for short was arbitrarily named small t. Also, Mendel said that a plant always had A pair of alleles present in it. Suppose for character height, contrasting traits will be tall and short. So contrasting alleles will be capital T and small t. So a plant will always have the pair combination of alleles, that is, both capital T's, both small t's, or a capital T and a small t. Law of dominance. Among two contrasting traits or alleles present for a specific character, when a situation comes that both of them are present in a pair, one will be showing its effect or physical appearance in a plant and the other's effect will be masked. Example, for flower color, contrasting traits are purple and white. So allele for purple is named capital P and allele for white is named small p. When present in pair or together, that is capital P and small p, the flower color will be purple and not white nor pink. So capital P or purple color was called as dominant and small p or white color was named as recessive. Law of segregation. Alleles for a character are not permanently joined or mixed, but remain as separate identity even after being present in a plant. And when gamete formation takes place, these separate into separate gametes and also each gamete receives one allele for a character. Law of independent assortment. This law is best understood taking into account two characters at a time of a pea plant. Let's understand with the most famous example. Seed color of pea plant is yellow or green and seed shape of pea plant is round or wrinkled. Suppose we take into account a plant with allelic combination capital R, small r, capital Y, small y. Then the gametes probability can be seen as this shows there is no connection or blending between alleles of different characters and so they separate with any kind of probability. A dihybrid cross is a best example for this law. Thank you. Stay tuned for more fun learning videos.